Hi skiers, I'm Jeff from skiessentials.com. We're here today to do another 2019 ski review, kind of carry on the theme of 2019 ski reviews leading up to the season. And this one's exciting. This is a relatively new brand for us. Hopefully you've kind of seen some announcements in the past. Kind of anytime we pick up a new brand, we usually do an article on Chairlift Chat kind of announcing the new brand. And this is Armada. So we're pretty excited to have Armada. You'll find results in our 2019 ski test on Armada. We had a bunch of models there and had a lot of fun having them at the test. And yeah, great skis, kind of cool company history, formed in the early 2000s. It's always been a very athlete-driven company. They were kind of the first ski company to adopt more of a snowboard or skateboard team model where they really gathered a collection of athletes and really focused on athlete-driven products. And kind of as the company has aged, so have their athletes aged. Tanner Hall, for example, was once kind of a really freestyle, park-focused skier, and kind of still is, but now he skis a lot of backcountry, skis some, is known for backcountry lines, for technical backcountry lines. He'll be in the Freeride World Tour this year. I think he's an alternate, but still really, really cool. So kind of as their athletes have aged, as the industry has changed a little bit, so have their skis. So this is the 2019 Tracer 108. Definitely freeride, kind of off-piste oriented ski, but really cool stuff. This one next to it is the Tracer 98, so very, very similar, just a little bit narrower. So Tracer 108, let's take a look at it. We'll start by talking about construction. First thing I'll say is it's pretty darn light, especially for a ski this wide. This is a 180, so it's not the longest. I think there's a 188, but still for a 180 that's 108 underfoot, it's pretty darn light. Fair amount going on in the core of this ski. It's kind of a hybrid core made up of a lot of different materials. So Armada calls it their hybrid ultralight core, and essentially the easiest way to think of it is there's relatively lightweight wood running through the whole ski, and then right underfoot there's some denser, heavier wood that kind of gives it a stiffer, slightly more powerful feel right underfoot. There's also a little bit of metal underfoot, and there's some rubber underfoot. So quite a bit going on kind of right in between my hands. Rubber, metal, definitely a thicker core, and then you get kind of that denser wood in there too. Armada uses Inagra mesh, which they call crystal mesh, which is fairly similar to carbon fiber, very lightweight material that gives it a lot of energy, boosts torsional stiffness. And then they also have this beveled top sheet, which is probably going to be hard to see from that distance, and as usual I will do kind of a close-up so you can see the bevel. And essentially it's designed to improve efficiency. Actually makes the ski a little stronger along the edges, which is really interesting. It almost looks like semi-cap construction, but it's a lot different than that. There's even 2 different degrees of beveling, it's just really cool. Having the ski in your hand, it just feels like a quality ski. So that's basically what's going on with the construction of the Tracer 108. Shape is pretty cool. I like this shape for a ski of this width. So quite a bit of camber underfoot, and then pretty long tip rocker. So again, I'll do close-ups of this so you can see a little closer, but the tip rocker essentially starts right where my hand is. Really not much difference whether you're decambering or not. I'm sure you've probably seen certain skis, when you decamber them, the tips really start to rise up drastically. Doesn't change too much when you decamber the Tracer 108. Tail rocker, there's not nearly as much tail rocker. And something that I put in the article, Armada calls this a rocker camber rocker ski, which I'm totally fine with. But I think it's almost more of a twin tip with tail rocker, if that makes sense. It's not like a symmetrical twin tip by any means. It's definitely a directional ski, but definitely way more tip rocker than tail rocker. and fairly substantial amounts of camber too, which I was pretty excited to see. I like that. I think when you have a low rise camber, it can almost make the ski feel like it's flat or reverse camber, which has its benefits, but that camber underfoot kind of gives it a little bit of energy, a little bit more to kind of push off, kind of use it to manipulate turn shape, which we'll get to. But yeah, really cool shape, really cool construction. Definitely, I think the first thing you'd notice picking up a pair is how light they are. Then you kind of start noticing the construction technique, kind of how unique it is. And I will say all of this kind of goes together to create a relatively soft flexing ski. And I don't know if you can see it there, but it's quite a bit stiffer right underfoot. So that denser wood, the metal, the rubber that they put in there, it is affecting the ski's flex underfoot. And I would say when you're skiing it, the tips feel a little bit softer than the tails. Not drastically different, but tips are a little bit softer than the tails, just barely. So 108 millimeters underfoot, skis of this width range. I'm sure there are people out there that would say this is an all-mountain ski, but really a 108 millimeter underfoot ski is kind of a free ride off-piste ski. And that's really the intended use of the Tracer. Let's kind of talk about different applications and the performance that it has. I'll start with kind of off-piste scenarios. So here in Vermont, a lot of our testing on the Tracer 108 was here at Vermont, both down at Stratton and here at Stowe. A lot of our terrain, especially off-piste terrain, is pretty tight. We do have some open kind of natural snow trails, but even those are usually kind of rocky and what I would call relatively tight terrain. But the focus for a lot of people around here is trees. And I found this thing is just, the easiest way to describe it is just smooth. In kind of that tight off-piste terrain, in those scenarios, it's such a smooth, predictable ski. It is relatively soft flexing, but to me that's a benefit. It's not designed to be a super stiff, hard charging ski. Rather, because the tips and tails are pretty soft, you can really manipulate turn shape really easily, and it does it in such a smooth, deliberate, predictable way. There aren't any surprises when you're kind of kicking that tail edge out, whether you want to do it quickly or whether you want to kind of slarve a turn. It does all that really easily, and because it's relatively light, it's not fatiguing. There are some lightweight skis that really feel like you have to kind of give them skier input. They don't like to just smear along the top of the snow, but the Tracer 108 definitely does, and I think we owe that to the combination of rocker. There is a little rocker in the tail, and then the flex pattern that kind of corresponds with that tip and tail. And there is some early taper too. I don't know if I mentioned that in discussing the shape, but that definitely adds into it too. If you're in the trees and there's 6 inches of snow, that tip shape, it's not catching, but it's giving you good edge contact. Some skis have really distinct early taper, which basically reduces the effective edge even when you're in soft snow. And it doesn't really feel like that on the Tracer 108. You can definitely use the whole ski, and the fact that you're using the whole ski and that the tips and tails are relatively soft flexing kind of gives you that ability to manipulate turn shape really easily, which I have a blast on this thing in Vermont. I would say at the end of this video I'll go through and kind of say like who it could be for. But to start, East Coast powder ski, done. There aren't really times when we're like charging super hard. There are, but less opportunities to do that here in the East through choppy snow typically. Awesome East Coast powder ski for sure. Now, more open off-piste terrain, this is where I think the conversation gets interesting. Armada has the Invictus line as well, which uses more metal in their skis. They're stiffer, they're heavier. So if you're a hard charging, free ride world tour, big mountain kind of guy, This might not have the flex profile you're looking for, the stability. So if you're skiing back bowls at Vail, maybe yesterday was a powder day, today is kind of choppy. If you're the type of guy that wants to just point it down the fall line and rip like 50, 60 miles an hour through chundery, choppy snow, you'll probably find that this is a little bit soft flexing for you. But it requires a lot of speed to get it to that point where it becomes unstable. And I think for most people it would be fine. It's really that upper echelon of super aggressive skiers that may push it past its limits. But then, so yesterday was the powder day, today is choppy. So choppy, if you're super aggressive, maybe you want a stiffer ski. The previous day, however, the powder day, it's a blast in that kind of back bowl open terrain. As long as there's some really nice soft snow, it's an absolute blast. And I don't want to scare people away from it thinking that it's going to be unstable. You do get that nice portion underfoot, which is very stable. It's more tips and tails. You'll get some movement. You'll get some minor tip deflection here and there. So again, not a super hard charging ski, but that's what comes along with the weight. I think another off-piste application and an important thing to note on the Tracer 108, it has a flat portion on the tail. This is designed specifically for a skin clip, so definitely a potential touring ski, whether you're an Eastern skier or a Western skier. And I think there's a few different ways you could do that. You could put a frame binding on it, you could put a Atomic or Solomon shift binding on it, and really have it be like a 50-50 resort and touring ski. Awesome application for the Tracer 108. You could even put more of a tech fit, like true tech fit binding on it, you know, whether you're going Dynafit rotation or something like the Kingpin, and make it more of a dedicated AT touring ski. I think that's perfectly acceptable. And then I think there are definitely going to be people out there that just put an alpine binding on it and ski it as a resort ski. But yeah, skin clip, less tail rocker, so that's good as a touring ski. A little bit more contact as you're ascending. Just kind of, usually AT skiers don't want too much tail rocker in their skis, so an interesting design element there. And then it's 108 millimeters underfoot, but we usually always talk about groomers. Pretty fun on groomers, actually. It does require a relatively high edge angle if you want to link carving turns. But I think most skiers of the upper intermediate level, upper intermediate and up, won't have a problem with it at all. And it kind of going back to the flex of the tips and tails, you can definitely gas pedal it on groomers and get it to flex into a shorter carving turn, which is super fun. Also similar to kind of the tight off-piste terrain that I was talking about, really easy to manipulate turn shape on groomers. So definitely not a ski that, I don't know, if you're more of a frontside skier, its highlight is not its frontside firm snow performance. But you know, if you're out west and this is your daily driver, when you're getting back on the cat track or jumping on a groomer to get back to the lift, it's not like you're just going to be washing around. You can actually ski and make some proper turns, and it's a fun ski on groomers. It's not exceptionally quick edge to edge. Tracer 98 is definitely quicker edge to edge, so you can make kind of your own assumptions. It's fairly obvious what the difference would be between these two skis. A little bit more float in deep snow, a little bit quicker edge to edge. A narrower ski is more torsionally stiff, just in general. That's kind of how it works. So you'll get a little bit better edge grip on the Tracer 98. But again, if you're after frontside performance, that's not really the highlight of either of these skis. And definitely not the Tracer 108. Definitely its soft snow performance is more of a highlight than that firm snow stuff. So yeah, I think really cool ski. I think there's a lot of different applications for it. If you're an Eastern skier, it could definitely be a dedicated powder ski. There are some skiers here on the East who are always seeking out soft snow. It's like a week after a powder day and they're still like venturing deep into the woods to find those pockets of snow. I think it could be a daily driver on the East for somebody like that. Definitely capable as a daily driver out west if you're the type of guy that loves soft snow, and kind of this type of ski speaks to you. Not super heavy, nice even, not super soft, but nice even, relatively soft flex in the tips and tails. Definitely a great choice for somebody like that. Snow in the west, even on groomers, is typically softer. There'll be some icy days here on the east where a ski like this doesn't quite have the edge grip that's ideal, but on the west that's not nearly as much of a concern. So definitely more justifiable as a daily driver ski. And then touring ski, I think it's an awesome choice for a touring ski. It's light enough that it's not going to be fatiguing on the uphill, but it's really, really fun on the way down. Definitely kind of has an Armada feel, which is a hard thing to describe, but it's a playful, fun ski it's just got a really good intended use. Clearly Armada knew what they were doing when they designed the ski. It's a deliberate design that results in really good performance. I think that shift binding from Atomic and Solomon would be a great choice. To me, that's very much a 50-50 binding. Great touring performance and great alpine resort performance too. And I think the Tracer 108 is a great 50-50 ski. Great touring performance, but also could just be skied as a resort ski. So yeah, that's the Tracer 108. A lot of different applications, super fun ski. We're really excited to have it. Have the Tracer 98 too, and we have quite a lot of other skis from Armada too. We're gonna try and fit in some other 2019 Armada reviews before we start looking at 2020 skis, which sounds crazy, but really we'll start doing that in January, usually early January. We're starting to get on the next season skis, so before then we'll fit in some more 2019 Armada reviews. You can find lots of information on them in our 2019 ski test. We had quite a few Armada skis this year in the ski test, which was exciting. And yeah, as always, if there's a ski out there, if you have follow-up questions, or if there's a ski out there that you want us to compare this to, definitely let us know in the comments, and we will do our best to compare and contrast the Tracer 108 or the Tracer 98 to other skis out there that you might be interested in. I can think of a lot. And we're going to be doing some free ride or some ski comparison videos and articles probably starting in around mid-October. So keep an eye out for those, and I will try and include the Tracer 108. But off the top of my head, Soul 7 is really similar width, fairly similar performance, or at least fairly similar idea. The Core 105 would be another one. There's definitely a lot of skis in this width range that are kind of have similar focus. So yeah, if you have any questions, definitely let us know. And hopefully we're skiing. Leaves are changing here in Vermont. Killington usually starts blowing snow in mid-October, so with any luck we'll be on snow in just over a month. So we will see you on the slopes.